What's up, guys? Welcome back to Review and Discussion for UnOrdinary episode 270. This was a fairly big chapter, honestly, in terms of discussion, things that take place. Another talking chapter, totally fine. We are big things are being set up right now, which I really appreciate. Uru's been doing a lot lately. I don't want to say this, but it's kind of what I can think of at the moment. Kind of redeeming herself after these last bad few goes at the story, but nonetheless, Uru doing phenomenal work these last few chapters, and that certainly kicks off with this one here. So, episode starts out with Layla talking to the three executives that she spoke with, that Sarah spoke with at the beginning of the return to season 2, and they discuss Serafina, Asset 47. Now, bitch ass McBitchface Orin undermines Sarah as a traitor who derailed their plan, but Layla immediately retorts that it was Orin's plan and that he put a lot on the line himself, including Terrence, who is currently being held and interrogated by Keon for info. But Orin says that Terrence will be taken care of. Now, I'm saying this right now. Orin does... We saw Orin through Terrence's flashbacks in the last few episodes when he was being interrogated. So we knew what Orin looks like, but, we got the confirmation that he was one of the mysterious men behind the silhouetted face way back when. I still say that he does look like Terrence, and I'm still standing by that I think he is Terrence's biological dad. So... this man willing to kill his own son, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. Just, he's a shitbag, unfortunately. So, yeah. So, there's that. So, Layla then retorts that this isn't the first incident like this, also mentioning the cafe back with her when Arlo and Sarah were also ambushed as well. And that he keeps risking revealing Spectre to the public, but he retorts yet again that Spectre wouldn't have gone this far without his risks. Now, honestly, this episode right here, I think it kind of shows, Layla does have, Layla thinks she has a lot of influence. I already talked about that, how, she's kind of in the same boat as Sarah, where she should have power, but unfortunately she doesn't because she's kept in check. But someone like Orin is an executive for Spectre, and also not only that, It is unfortunately kind of like, Uru telling us, not really showing us, but it does kind of give us a little, it does still at least give us a little bit of insight as to why Orin is kind of allowed to get away with the things he is, because apparently he has taken a lot of risks in the past that have made Spectre successful. So hopefully we'll actually see, Uru will show more of that down the line instead of, just telling us in this chapter right here. But it is, it does give a little bit more insight as to, why Orin can do whatever he wants. The woman in the middle, however, says she kind of agrees with Orin, saying that Sarah still put her own needs before Spectre, but Layla points out that she did that because the agreement was broken by Orin himself, and that they can't afford to lose someone as well connected as Sarah is. The last executive agrees, and he even asks how Agent Asset 47 is. He's the only one of the execs to ask Layla about Sarah, almost by name, and the only executive to agree with Layla. Now, I got a little bit curious about this as to why this executive in particular would have agreed with Layla, and I got to thinking, because I remember we had seen a silhouette of Sarah and Layla's father way back in episode 214 when Sarah was talking to Layla, when Sarah met Layla again for the first time, and she was reflecting on what it was like when Layla left, and we saw her parents looming over her as dark figures. Now, the silhouette isn't perfect. You guys can see it on screen right now. The silhouette isn't perfect. This guy does not completely match the silhouette perfectly. Nerissa's silhouette is definitely a lot closer, but I still think it does kind of vaguely resemble the last executive. But another thing about this is that the colors do not match what Layla's hair would be. And usually when there is something like that, whenever there are parents involved, Uru does kind of show that, kids' hairs match one of their parents' hairs, and then the other child will usually have the same hair color as the other parent. We've seen this with Sarah and Narissa, and we've also seen this with Ray with his and Remy's mom. So yeah, the color, it's not even vaguely close. It's a kind of purple, I think, for the last executive, but it's nowhere near like Layla's hair color is. So, but I do still think it is possible, even though it has been confirmed that Sarah's father has connections to Next Gen, not Zeta Psi. It is possible that he may still, have... And actually, you know what? He has connections to Next Gen. Zeta Psi isn't exclusive... Or Spectre isn't exclusively part of Zeta Psi. They're just Zeta Psi's biggest competitors. So that might be a good setup as to how Spectre was able to get their hands on some Next Gen stuff and like get access to those resources and stuff. So I'm still standing by that executive number 3 might actually be Sarah and Layla's father. It's a bit of a stretch, I'll admit, but I'm still going to stand by that. So then at the end of that, the last executive, the Sarah and Layla's father, I'm sticking with it, he asks what Layla proposes to get Sarah back in the good graces, and she informs them of having another audience with Sarah. And we know that that's part of Sarah's plan to, get back at them. Because we know that Sarah doesn't intend to work with Spectre anymore. She wants to burn Spectre to the ground. But getting an audience with the executives and taking the ability recovery device is part of her plan right now. She's cooking up a plan. We'll probably get more on that in the next few chapters. Probably not next episode. I really hope not next episode with what Uru set up at the end of this episode. Get to that a bit. So, we then cut back to John's dorm. And John asks William how long he's planning on staying, and it's only for a night yet again. But William tells John that he only came to check up on him because he heard he was in the hospital, and he also gives him a rewrite of what he could remember from UnOrdinary, stating he remembered that John asked him a while back if he could send him another copy from episode 47 when he got back to his apartment after a really shitty day at school. Now, this is going to be big for John if he keeps it. I think it's definitely possible, this will just make John regret and be sad about losing his ability even more. But also we do know that UnOrdinary helped John a lot. It unfortunately helped him in it helped John on the wrong path. Rather, John just decided that he wasn't going to be the part of a hero, but he will try to be a better person without his ability. But I think reading UnOrdinary this time with the new mindset that he has now might, make him want his ability back even more. And when he gets his ability back, he'll be more proactive in using it for good, being the hero. Not necessarily being the superhero, but I think, going off on doing the right thing, doing the full-on right thing more instead of hesitating. And we'll bring that back later on too. If I remember, because now I'm actually starting to forget what my point was. Anyway, but this can also cause major problems if it's found again, and I think it's very likely that it will be. Again, we know that the authorities are definitely looking for reasons, anything that they have that they can get rid of Headmaster Vaughn on, remove him from office. I think that Keon's knowledge that Sarah is working parts with Spectre, or that Sarah is working as a vigilante as well, will definitely be a big factor, and they also have Remy and Blake, but also John having another copy of UnOrdinary can definitely cause a lot of major problems for this. That is also dependent if John does keep it. I think it is possible. It's definitely possible that John does tell his dad, Dad, keep this safe for me back home. I can't have it here because I can't have it here for safety reasons. But also, I could definitely see Remy or Blake seeing the book, seeing the manuscript or the pages that William wrote and reading it then. And then they put the dots together oh my God, John's dad is H.W. Doe. John's dad wrote UnOrdinary. And, maybe it becomes with the thing at the safe house. Maybe UnOrdinary is hidden at the safe house along with Rock Bottom by Ubu-chan. But yeah, no, I definitely think if it does stay, it will definitely come up again, be brought up again. And, you know, Cassandra goes to Blyke and John's dorm. She gets confused and she enters John's dorm first and she sees a copy of UnOrdinary. And she's like, aha, I got you, you son of a bitch. And, you know, that's just Cassandra being a dumb bitch, too. Actually, she did also bring up John reading UnOrdinary, despite how stupid I think that reason is. She did bring it up, so, you know, and Vaughn did also say, hey, like, he doesn't have the book anymore, and that's already been taken care of by your higher ups. Like, that's not relevant anymore. So, yeah, she could get him with that. Again, UnOrdinary being at the school, very risky move by William. But, you know, William's still an amazing dad. So, Sarah arrives, and she sees William, and she's happy to see him and everything. She just basically tells John, like, why didn't you tell me your dad was in town? He's just like, I didn't know he was coming. He's only here for a week, for tonight. But she asks William if he wants to go see anywhere, since he's only in town for the day. And, you know, he asks to see the safe house because he was really impressed by what Remy, Blyke, and Eisen told him about it. So, as they take William to the safe house, he gets impressed by everything they have in the club and everything. And, you know, he tells them, like, you guys should be proud of what you've accomplished. John then looks down and he reflects on everything he did to destroy it, saying that he feels like he doesn't deserve to be in here. But William retorts, saying that his relationship with everyone is starting to get better now. But if he feels guilty, he can offer to help where he can. But John denies being able to help with anything, saying it wouldn't really make much of a difference. And then William comments that John is capable of far more than he knows, which is absolutely true. But Sarah then deduces that William most likely, based on that comment, that William most likely isn't aware of that John lost his ability. And then she mentions that she then, you know, asks John, you know, about Dylan asking for combat lessons and everything. But John just brushes it off. And then William and Sarah kind of look at each other like, bro, do you want to help or not? Like, make up your mind, bro. So Sarah then asks William, since he taught John how to fight, if he could teach her a few pointers and as well. And he agrees, and they head to a gym. I think it might be a gym on campus, or, you know, maybe something at the dorms. So once they're there, so shout out to one of my viewers, Legend, who pointed out during the reaction last week that the end shots of Sarah practicing her fighting, like practicing the punches and everything, the kicks, they were old Patreon exclusive unused panels. Now, just because I don't think Uru posted these on Twitter or anywhere, I'm not going to show the Patreon stuff either, just because I don't think I'd be allowed to. But it's really cool of Uru to use the shots. It was just the action shots too. There were also some like monologue moments and like some flashback scenes for Sarah as well. But she just used the action shots, which was really cool. It was really cool. It was awesome art when Uru posted it, and I'm glad that people get to see it again. It's awesome. Sarah just looks so fierce, and she's just punching. She's just practicing fighting, and it was epic. So, awesome. Way to go, Uru. That was really smart. So, as Sarah finishes warming up and William gets some gloves, he tosses a pair to John, challenging him to a fight, and John just gives his dad the old bring it on, old man. And that's where I hope, Uru, I swear, you've been skipping a lot of things that I really wished you wouldn't skip these last few episodes. Please do not skip William versus John. Like, let us see that, please. I want to see William scrap. This man knows how to throw hands, and they're on equal footing now. All three of them are on equal footing with no ability. So, there is that. So, that is what I wanted to bring up. Going back to, John doing what he can. I think if he does read UnOrdinary again, or at least like what his dad remembered, it will help him take that step. Maybe he does, when he gets his ability back, does take up the role of King again. That is something that I do still want. I still want King John. But also, he does decide like, once he gets his ability back and he realizes, like, like the hero UnOrdinary has all the power, he takes the combat classes, the hand-to-hand, takes the combat lessons for everyone to a further level of, hey, let's get your ability up. Let's see what you're really capable of. Do this with your ability. That's something that I mentioned way back when. I wanted John to teach Blake stuff about his ability. I don't think that's going to happen now. I definitely think that's still a conversation. But something I've always wanted is John being like, hey, like, this is what your ability can do. Try pushing it a little bit further. You're capable of this. Trust me. So, and, Wellston getting more, like, stronger students. That's always a good thing. That's what the authorities want. But also, like, they're going to need backup at some point, I think. Now, one last point I want to bring up before finishing things off here. I brought up last week that I would really love for Vaughn and William to meet. I would love for that interaction to happen. And one thing I thought of, because someone mentioned Keen's security nets in the last episode, in the last reaction, discussion on that for another day. Keen probably sensed William. He probably sensed that there was nothing, saw that he was with John and Sarah, and that's how Vaughn and him meet. Because, based on what we've seen, I don't think that William and Headmaster Vaughn have ever actually met. I think it's very possible that they've chatted, because I think when John got the call from Vaughn about if he was going to come back to school, I think William even mentioned John, like, hey, you got a call from the headmaster. So I'm sure that they've had some on and off conversations, but I would love for them to actually just full on meet and talk, because Vaughn is an interesting character and William is interested in meeting him. And I think that Vaughn would be very interested in meeting William as well. So yeah, Vaughn and William meeting, Uru, please. Anyway, so yeah, honestly, I will give this episode, I think I gave last week another 9. Honestly, this episode is a level 9 too. It's a really good episode. Again, it sets up a lot. Uru is setting up a lot of good stuff that I hope we get actual good payoff to in the near future. But yeah, Uru has done a really good job of linking these last few setup chapters together. Things pay off immediately with each other with the next episode, or, like, we get some more information. So yeah, Uru's been doing a solid job with these episodes lately. And shout out to the artist as well. Shout out to the artists who are putting the comic together for her too. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought down below. And yeah, I will see you guys back later tonight for the reaction to episode 271. So as always, see you, Space Cowboy.